Hello, friends, and welcome to today's episode. As everyone knows, bullying has become very common all over the world. However, it happened a lot before the word bullying was even used. People often pick on others without a reason and take out their anger on them. But one dad wasn't going to let it happen. He smiled as he put his coat on. There was a boy named Joey Mason hanging out in the park one day with his ball and having a good time. He was one of many kids at school who were picked on, but he was happy here. Up until a bunch of teens showed up. There are a lot of bullies in schools, and not many people know how to deal with them properly. There was a need for action. In 4th grade, Joey Mason is quiet and loves to play with his dog and cat. Joey lives in a neighborhood in Toronto, Canada, that has a nice park where he can play outside. Unfortunately, one day after school, Joey's time playing outside turned into a terrible nightmare. That these bigger boys were up to no good was pretty clear to everyone who saw it. I'm Joey, and I'm 10 years old. I am being picked on by others. It really hurts me. Stop being mean, Joey wrote on social media. A lot of people saw his online plea, but the one person who could help hadn't seen it. Joey's message was read by many people, but his dad didn't know about it. You should think about your kids if they are in pain because every parent wants the best for their kids. Joey's dad was the same. When he saw that his son was having trouble every day, he became more and more worried and scared. He looked around to see what was wrong. He tried to talk to his son, but the boy shut down and wouldn't tell him the truth. The changes in Joey's behavior began when he started going to a new school with his dad. The exact moment he went from being a happy little boy to a mess of emotions was clear to him. He started to think about what was making it happen. It could be the school, a teacher, or even a different kid. He knew something was very wrong because Joey's dad saw his son cry every day after school. He wasn't sure from Joey that his son was being picked on. But he was shocked when he found out what had been going on. He knew he had to be very sneaky and dishonest in order to get what he needed. He couldn't just let his son's sadness get worse every day because he was a good father. He had enough and chose to do something about it. How was the only question? He gave it some thought. Then he finally thought of the best way to do things. He gave it a lot of thought. He then thought that Joey must be being picked on by a student or even a teacher. At home, they had a solid and happy family life, so he knew that wasn't what was making his son unhappy. But how was he going to find out the truth? In secret, he followed his son to the park after school one day, and then everything went crazy. That terrible day after school, Joey's time playing outside turned into a nightmare. Why? Because of the mean kids. They came up to him while he was playing with his ball. They had no idea that someone was waiting for them and watching everything they did. A group of kids had recently looked at him that spring for some reason. They were always following Joey around before and after school for weeks, it seemed like always to pick on him. Joey wasn't upset about being called names, though. Oh, until one day the mean girls did something really scary. Today, people wouldn't just call each other names or point. Joey was a good boy who wasn't bothering anyone, so why did these teens always pick on him? For the other people there, it looked like they knew Joey because they were standing right next to him. Joey was in trouble, and things were about to get worse. But someone else noticed the noise the teens were making. Joey couldn't stand up for himself at school. Most kids would be too scared to speak up, and teachers would sometimes not notice this because they thought the kids were just being kids and messing around. Now, he was trapped by the mean kids. But someone in the park knows what's going on. Are they going to help Joey? The teens were having fun when they took Joey's ball and didn't return it. But everyone knows that things can get worse quickly if no one steps in. It didn't look wrong from a distance to see the bigger boys giving Joey's ball to each other. People who saw them probably thought they knew him because they went straight to him. Some kids seemed nice at first, but there were darker sides to their personalities that would soon come out. One of the teens said, "Hey kid. That is a nice ball you have there. Could I see it?" The teen kicked the ball away from Joey before he could do anything. He said, "It's mine," but it didn't help. "Man, just give it to me." "It's just a ball," the teen said. He had no idea that someone was watching him. Someone was watching the kids and Joey talk to each other at the same time. He was hidden so no one could see him. He turned his attention to the four boys as the teasing got worse. The older teen kicked the ball to the other side of the road at one point. That's when the man chose to do something. The mean boys didn't know he was Joey's dad. "Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think you're doing?" Joey's dad asked in a very stern voice. Joey was trying to get his ball back, and the teens were silent for a moment because they didn't know what to say. That is, until they got braver. They tried to steal from him. The teens told the dad, "Just playing ball, sir," hoping that the dad would think they were nothing and leave them alone. This guy didn't believe it, though. The next thing the man said is something we would never want to hear if we were Joey. The man asked, "Why are you picking on a little kid?" The boys did not answer. "Don't you think this would make your parents happy?" "Are you guys going to jail for picking on a kid?" he also said. After one of the kids said no, the man asked some more questions of the other groups. "Why did you guys not stop him?" "You guys want to be a part of this?" the man asked, mad that he had to see it but happy to be there to help his son. He gave Joey his ball back and asked him if he was okay. He then told the teens to go somewhere else and leave the kid alone. But this story isn't over yet, and you'll see why. Joey's dad chose to walk his son to school a few days after what happened. The father and son team had a secret weapon this time, though. Every morning, he made sure to walk by the spot where the mean kids were waiting for Joey. He was ready to give them sweet justice. He didn't want them to pick on anyone else ever again. Joey walked ahead while his dad stayed behind. The teens were, indeed, hanging out on the same street corner they always do. They knew who Joey was right away, and then they started calling him names. Joey's dad was ready this time, though. He walked up to them and yelled "Hey," to get their attention. He smiled as he took his coat off. When the teens saw the white outfit, they were shocked, and then they started to scramble. "I believe that." As they ran away, Joey's dad yelled. He smiled and tightened his black belt, happy. Those mean kids were scared to death when he found his old judo outfit hidden under his coat. A lot of famous people have spoken out in support of people like Joey. No matter what, we don't want to see bullying. This is why a lot of people have started to talk about it. What does our story have in common with efforts against bullying? A young boy named Keaton Jones sobbed in a video that went popular in December 2017 about being picked on. A lot of people responded to the video, and it started a national talk about bullying. Bandera was also moved by these events, and he chose to do his own social experiment on bullying. Many well-known people took to Twitter to show their support for Keaton. It was the responses from famous people that warmed Keaton's heart more than any other attention the movie got. It was clear that Chris Evans, who plays Captain America, really cared about Keaton and his family. "Stay strong," Chris told Keaton, and he even extended an invitation to the opening of the new Avengers movie next year. He wasn't the only one who stood by Jones either. Would you help someone who was being picked on? What would you have done? Would you have helped the kid or let him handle it on his own? We think bullying is wrong and should never happen, no matter what the reason is or what age the person is. It makes other people feel bad about themselves and has a bad effect on their lives. We can all learn from this story that bullying is wrong and that the right thing to do is to use logic and ask the bullies what they would do if they were being bullied. By recognizing this, we can take one more step toward ending bullying in our society. Since social media came along, there has been a huge rise in internet bullying. A lot of students who were bullied in real life and online even thought about hurting themselves. Being nice to people and standing up for them when we see them being bullied can save a life. Also, never do something to someone else that you wouldn't want done to you. This includes bullying. That's it for today, friends. Please let us know what you think about this story. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon for more amazing stories.